Hello, I'm Jonathan Elkins, and this is Israel Up Close. It's been called the spark that set in motion the collapse of the Soviet Union and prompted that country's historic transformation to a free society. An exhibition of the epic history of Russian Jewry's struggle for freedom is on display now in Tel Aviv. Called Jews of Struggle, the show marks the 40th anniversary of the movement, which changed the history of Israel and the rest of the world. Eli Wogelanter reports.
Russian Aliyah has affected all aspects of Israeli society, but many in Israel are too young to remember how it all began. 40 years ago was the start of the Soviet Jewry movement. Denied the ability to practice their Judaism or immigrate to Israel, hundreds of Soviet Jews, mostly in their 20s and 30s, and inspired by the Israeli victory in the Six-Day War, used to meet in secret to learn about their heritage, forming the nucleus of an underground refusnik movement. That movement, which produced activists like Yuli Edelstein, Ida Nudel, Natan Sharansky, and Yosef Bigun, is being remembered in an exhibition in Tel Aviv. The movement gained steam right after the Six-Day War in 1967.
Jews, for the first time in big masses in the Soviet Union, got up and said, I want to leave this country. And that's happened as a result of Six-Day War. It was this phrase, Har Habayit Bayadenu, the Temple Mount in our hands, which changed our lives.
Yosef Bigun, who spent a total of 10 years in Soviet prison, remembers what it was like holding secret conversations, knowing the KGB was listening in.
If you're at home and there were no other opportunity, people went to a room of bath and open water and sit down close to each other and talked, and noise of water. They hoped that KGB did not hear their words.
The exhibition features different aspects of the Soviet refusnik movement, including the many protests carried out in the West. Former activist Bobby Brown, who took part in several clandestine visits with refusniks on his trips to Moscow in the 1970s, remembers how the protests in New York helped young Jews in the diaspora forge their own identity.
Lit the imagination of young world Jewry. I think that Jews everywhere felt that after the Holocaust and after all the stories of how many people continued life as normal during the Holocaust, young Jews were not going to let something happen again. That if Jews were being persecuted, they would not rest. And as much as world Jewry did for Soviet Jewry, I believe Soviet Jewry did for world Jewry in creating a Jewish identity and Jewish pride.
The most famous prisoner of Zion was, of course, Sharansky, who we see here crossing over from Potsdam to Berlin on February 11, 1986, on his way to freedom in Israel. Sharansky, who subsequently served as a minister in several Israeli governments, says that the Soviet Jewry movement was the catalyst in bringing down the Soviet Union.
The Soviet Jewry movement was by far the most massive movement, which mobilized much more support and pressure on the Soviet Union than anything else. And as a result, this process of linking the question of human rights with the international policy was brought at the top of the agenda of the free world, and no doubt that was the main reason why the Soviet Union in the end fell apart.
Leaders of the movement are hoping that the new exhibition will demonstrate to a younger generation what Jewish activism can do. They also hope it teaches that Jews working together can affect change, even in circumstances which may otherwise seem hopeless. Eli Wogelanter for Israel Up Close.